Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I wanted to bring you guys a little bit of a different video. I know usually I'll do a sit down vlog or a vlog where I walk around, but I wanted to talk more on the financial side today, specifically lifestyle inflation. Now, why am I talking about lifestyle inflation? Why am I wanting to get into financial videos? Why am I wanting to make a series about this? Well, a lot of it comes down to how my family, growing up, how my family was and how I've seen how other families have been. And I know there's a huge problem in the United States. I don't know the specific number, but there's a huge problem in the United States where a lot of people are just sitting here living paycheck to paycheck. And I know it's not as simple as, oh, just save more money, but you know, these are just some things you can think about and be aware of and maybe do a little bit here and there. So specifically, again, we're talking about lifestyle inflation. Now, what is lifestyle inflation? Well, I think a good thing to start off with is, what is inflation? Well, inflation every year, long story short, it's the value of your money. The dollar is worth less every year. So let's just say you have $1 this year. A year from now, it might be worth, 95 cents. So if you took that dollar and held on to it, you could buy 95 cents worth of things as you could buy today. A more drastic example of that is, let's just say 100 years ago you had $1. 100 years ago versus today, you can't buy much with $1 today. 100 years ago, you might have been able to buy, let's just say, groceries. You could buy a lot, let's just say a bunch of food for 100 years ago for $1. Again, I don't know the specifics. Haven't done my specific number research in terms of that, but the whole premise behind it is true still. Now, what can you buy for $1? Almost nothing, just from $1 alone. So over time, your money will lose value due to inflation. We all know that. Now, there's lifestyle inflation. What is lifestyle inflation? Well, what usually ends up happening is, as time goes on, there is socioeconomic movement, meaning you might get a little bit of a better job. You might get, a raise. You might get, finally you might get something paid off and start having more money. Heck, you might even have some side jobs. You might get some money from inheritance. You might get some life insurance money. And these are all great things. These are all great things. Life insurance money, someone probably died. Not that great, but you know what I mean. They're great things financially. But at the end of the day, there's still some people that, they've got all this stuff going for them. They might be making $150,000, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck. Now, why is that? You got someone living $150,000 paycheck to paycheck and someone living at $50,000, not living paycheck to paycheck. Now, why is that? Well, a lot of it comes down to lifestyle. I understand that there's some things that are out of your control after a certain point. Like, obviously, if you have kids, you can't just get rid of kids. I would not recommend doing that. Highly illegal. If you're married, that's another thing. Those are some things you can't really just easily change or for no reason. So what you have to do is you have to take a look at your lifestyle and make sure you're not living above your means. Meaning, sure, you might make $2-3 grand a week, but if you're spending $2 or $3 grand a week on necessities plus wants, and you have no money left over, then what's the point? That's a lifestyle. That's what happens as time goes on. You might start out, let's say, when you're 20, you're making, $30,000 a year, but then when you're living paycheck to paycheck, and then you're 30 and you're making, I don't know, maybe $60,000, $70,000 a year, but you're still living paycheck to paycheck. You can't be doing that. So what are ways to cut down on that? Well, some of the best ways to cut down on it, first of all, is, yes, make food at home. I'm guilty of it a lot. I really am. I don't make food at home often, but it is a great way to save money. If I made food at home, I'd probably save $60, $70 a week minimum, probably close to $100 a week on minimum. But it's a great way to save money. I understand sometimes, time is of the essence. You don't want to spend time on that. I understand that, but I'm just saying, if you can make at least a few meals a week, that could help. Meal plan, things like that will help a lot. Another thing is housing. Do you really need to live in an apartment that's $2,500? I know apartments are really expensive right now. Rent is through the roof. Mortgages are crazy high right now. mortgage rates as well, in terms of loan interest rates, crazy high right now as well. But these are things, if you can cut down on them, you need to be cutting down. A lot of people will buy things just for status, or just to make themselves feel better, which I understand. Again, I grew up with not a lot of money, and for a little bit of time I had this whole thing where I was buying everything I could until I was broke. But in the long run, is this going to help you? Is this really going to help you? Probably not. You might be able to sell whatever it is for you bought for a fraction of the cost that you bought it for, but it's not going to help you in the long run. So what you need to do is take a look at your vehicle. Like, are you in a financial state to own that vehicle? A lot of times the answer is no. You could buy a cheaper vehicle that is still relatively mechanically sound, because you don't want to buy a piece of crap that's going to be breaking down every day, because that's going to end up costing you more money in the long run. That goes into more of the category of it's expensive to be poor, which I can make another video on that later on the road. So when it comes to vehicles and car payments, if you are still struggling, if you are still trying to build your wealth and build a lot of equity, you do not need to be buying an expensive car, because what ends up happening is that car loses lots of value. Lots of value is lost over time, and you might buy it for $25,000, $30,000. You try to sell it, it could only sell for $10,000, maybe $15,000, maybe. What you're better off doing is buying a solid used vehicle, usually under 10 grand, and paying it off mostly in cash, or if not, just paying it off within the next year or two, and not having a car note, and putting that money towards saving or investing for your future, than just being able to say that you have a really nice car. Because other people's thinking that here's the thing, people don't really care that much. There's some people that'll say something, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's more of a personal ego thing. It's not a big deal. You don't need that car. Apartments, again, I've already kind of talked about this. I know they're expensive, but if you can find a cheaper apartment, or if you can get a roommate as well. There's no shame in getting a roommate if you need to. If you're saving money, if you're out here hustling, if you have a plan, if you have a game plan, there's nothing to be ashamed of to have a roommate. Or like split an apartment with 2 rooms, have one roommate, have one person one room, one person in the other room. My personal goal is not to pay anything over about $750 to $800 a month for rent if I move out and go in an apartment, which I haven't. I still live at home. There's no shame in living at home. Sure, you might have to pay a little bit of rent there, but it's not going to be anything near as close as what most rent prices are right now. So, that's what I do. I live at home, and I've been heavily saving over the past several months and investing into different things to save up for the future. So, those are a couple great things that you can do. I know that those aren't things that everyone can do, but if you can do it, I highly encourage you to sit down and just kind of take a look at your expenses, because I can guarantee you there's going to be something in your, go look through your bank statements. There's going to be something in your bank statements you're like, why am I paying for this? Like, I never use that. Or, I don't really use that. Let me get rid of that. Or you can kind of, categorize everything. You might see, wow, I'm spending way more on this than everything else. And that's kind of the lifestyle inflation I'm talking about. Is, you get a raise and you're like, oh, I make, I got a big raise. I make $5,000 more every month now. So let me go get an apartment that costs an additional $4,000. Like, okay, yeah, you live in a nicer apartment. You already lived in a good apartment. You live in a really, really, really nice apartment now, and you're wasting money because you're not building equity when you're renting an apartment out. So that's the kind of thing that you have to stop yourself from doing. Do not do. Sure, maybe once you're, a little bit older, or you have a crap ton of money, you just can spend on whatever you want, sure. But if you're really trying to grind and get out of that, get out of living paycheck to paycheck and get ahead to where you can have money that works for you. That's what you want. You want money that works for you. This is the whole point of it, in my opinion, at least to me. You want your money to be able to work for you. So what does that mean? Well, that means being able to invest in, the stock market, maybe buy properties, rent them out, whatever it might be, start a business. You want your money to be able to work for you so that in the long run, hopefully, you can work less and make more. Now, you're always going to probably have to work at a certain amount, but you want that freedom later on in life. So sacrifice a little bit, which it's not even that much. Sacrifice a little bit of that, you know, freedom, which it's usually not even freedom, but sacrifice a little bit of that freedom and fun now, so that you can have a lot of that freedom and fun later on. So when it comes down to it, again, just save your money, and don't buy too many stupid things. It's okay to buy some stupid things sometimes. That's another thing that some people don't realize is part of budgeting. You have to budget for things you want, and you have to budget for, you know, just nice things or fun things every once in a while. You know, go out to the movies every once in a while. You know, go get, I don't know, a nice steak dinner every once in a while. Whatever it is, there is nothing wrong for that, because sure, you know, financially, these are all numbers on paper financially, but we're also human. That's another thing you have to take into consideration. There's a human aspect to it. And if you just sit here and look at everything, you know, numbers wise, and just try to cut everything down, which I don't recommend at all. But if you try to cut everything down, you're probably going to be miserable. It's probably not sustainable, and you're going to be back, you know, to square one before you know it. And that's not what we want. So again, we are humans with feelings and emotions, and we need to be, you know, have things to look forward to. You can have financial goals like, hey, once I hit $1,000 saved up, you know, I'll go buy myself, you know, maybe like a $50 or $100 this or whatever, you know. I mean, I would say that seems like a pretty reasonable goal, especially when you're starting out. You start to get encouraged, and the more money you save, to me, the more you're encouraged to do it, because you've proven to yourself that you can do it. You know, just slowly get into it. Take one of the, you know, few things I told you today, and concentrate on it, and tell yourself, okay, today I'm going to focus on this specific thing. Like, let's just say housing. You know, I'm going to think about maybe for the next few months, what can I do with housing? Am I in a good spot? If you're in a great spot with housing, then you might not need to do anything. Maybe you need to do something with, you know, food, with how you're eating. Maybe you need to start getting more groceries and stop eating out, or stop ordering DoorDash. Maybe that's something you need to do. If you really want to be serious about saving and growing your financial, and you know, with growing everything financial and reaching your financial goals, then you need to start doing something. That's what it comes down to. I'm only 22, and I'm really trying to start. You always hear that thing of, oh, I wish I would have done it when I was younger, and I kind of do, but I kind of don't, because I understand that, you know, when I was younger, hey, I had to have at least some time just to, you know, mess around and just buy random stuff, you know. And at least now I got most of that out of the way. I'll always have time in the future to buy random stuff or stupid things. I'll have time in the future to do that. But for right now, I'm really trying to start hammering down and getting serious about it, so that I can have a secure and, you know, peaceful future without having to worry about finances. I know this video went on a little bit too long. I'm sorry if it was a little bit all over the place. Probably in the future, I'm going to be starting to do outlines, and actually outlines for myself, at least, over different talking points and topics, just so it's a little bit more of an organized video. This video, here's the thing, this video that you guys are seeing right now, this is a very real video, right? This is, if you were sitting right next to me in my truck right now, and I was talking with you, this is probably what you would, you know, about hear. Of course, we would conversate, but this is what you would hear. So I'm going to try to start putting more kind of outlines into the videos, just so it's not all over the place. But I hope you guys at least learned something today, and I hope that I can help you. If you have any questions or comments, or even, you know, your own financial story, drop them down in the comments down below. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Hey guys, just a quick thing before you guys go. If you were still watching, by the way, all this, I was just looking at the video right now, all this is, I just finished pressure washing as a side thing, which is a great thing to do. But that's why my face looks like this. It's just dirt. I'm out here hustling. All right, just wanted to let you guys know that.